Distance Learning with Miss Sorensen.
Hello, friends. Welcome to another day of My World and I. Today is our last day of exploring Africa. We have been learning about so many different things about this continent, and we are going to end today with not just one, but two different art projects. I made two videos just so you knew that there was one art project and another art project, and they were separate from each other. That's why there's two videos today. In Africa, there are so many different kinds of artwork that is created all across the continent. I had such a hard time choosing. I had four that I was trying so hard to decide which two would I do, because I could have done them all. We don't have enough time for that. But I did narrow it down to two that I would really like to share with you today. In your passports, in your Africa passports, at the very last page, you will notice some artwork pictures. Look at the pictures in your passport. What are you noticing? Looking in these pictures, what are some things that you're noticing in the pictures on the last page of your Africa passport? Yeah, right. I'm seeing some faces. I'm seeing some different patterns, some geometry if we look super close. Yeah, right. The first craft that we are going to be doing is actually this one down here. We're going to start with this. This is called the Adinkra cloth. Adinkra cloth. Let's put that in our head 3 times. Adinkra cloth, Adinkra cloth, Adinkra cloth. I'm going to teach you a little bit about Adinkra cloth in our video today. And then the second video I have, we are going to be making our own African masks. I'll tell you more about it when we get to that video later. For now, we are going to be looking at some examples that look very similar to these pictures of Adinkra cloth, and we're going to be making our own. So that's all we needed to see in our passport for today. We see some picture examples of our African masks and of our Adinkra cloth. We just need to look at them in our passport. I am going to be showing you more pictures in our video and telling you a little bit about the Adinkra cloth, where it comes from, why it was created, how it's created, and what's so important about this piece of artwork in Africa. So, I first want to show you, what does Adinkra cloth look like in color in real life? So I have some examples to show you. Here's a picture right here. Right, look at the patterns, look at the shapes. There's so much going on. Adinkra cloth is a hand-printed cloth or fabric made in Ghana and developed by the Ashanti people. Let's take a look at another example. I want you to look closely this time. I'm going to scoot over this way. Look closely. What are some patterns that you're noticing? Some shapes? Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's not as much color used in this example, but we still see so much happening in the picture. There's patterns, there's designs, there's shapes. There's lots that this fabric is telling us through what we're seeing. The cloth, or the fabric that gets made, is oftentimes turned into clothing. And that clothing was traditionally worn by royalty during religious ceremonies. Let's look at another example. I'm going to turn to the side. Okay, I'm seeing more colors. I'm seeing a different kind of pattern this time. I've seen shape patterns. I have seen square patterns. Now I'm seeing something having to do with color on this pattern. Right, on the top row we see yellow, green, yellow. The next one we see green, yellow, green, yellow, green, yellow, green, yellow, green. Ooh, so we could have shape patterns and we could have color patterns. Interesting. Through the years, people have also decorated the clothes that they have created with their Adinkra cloth. They have decorated them to tell a story or to express their feelings or thoughts. They do that through the symbols that they put, the colors that they put on their Adinkra cloth. If someone were to decorate their Adinkra cloth with bright colors, maybe some yellows and pinks and purples and maybe some light blues, what kind of emotions or feelings or maybe even thoughts do you think they might be feeling or trying to show through their Adinkra cloth? Yeah, maybe, right. A lot of times when we think of bright colors, we think of happiness, excitement, wonderment, a lot of happy, just uplifting emotions. What if the cloth was full of darker colors, maybe dark reds, dark blues, maybe blacks? How do you think somebody might be feeling or wanting other people to see how they might be feeling through their cloth, through their Adinkra cloth? Yeah, maybe. Ooh, interesting. Yeah, maybe sadness or maybe even fear or anger, loss. There's lots of feelings that could be shown through just the colors. Ooh, here's a picture of somebody wearing some Adinkra cloth. Oh, wow. I'm seeing colors and patterns and shapes, same thing as we've been noticing before. Right. Just like with colors, the symbols can show or mean something important on the Adinkra cloth. The Adinkra cloth, we can see in this picture right here, is stamped and patterned with traditional Ashanti symbols. Each symbol has its own meaning. To decorate and make and create those symbols, the people of Ghana use a black dye that's made out of bark to print those symbols to stamp those symbols onto the cloth. Interesting. So it's not sewn, it's stamped on there with bark. Let's look at another example. Now that we know that the dye in the patterns is made out of bark. I'm gonna scoot over. Let's look at this one. Oh, wow. The dye has a special name. We can see it in this picture. I'm seeing dark symbols made with a dye. It has a special name. It's called Adinkra Aduru. And it gives the cloth its name. Adinkra sounds like Adinkera. Aduru is the second part of the name. So using the dye, they draw lines on cloth to divide it into squares. Oh, we can see. I can see lots of squares. Are you seeing squares? 2D shapes. Right. So they use it to draw lines and divide the cloth into squares. Next, they carve symbols into gourds. Now, gourds are large fruit. Here, look at this picture right here. This is a gourd. Right, they carve symbols into the outside of the gourd. Okay, so keep that in your mind. They're carving symbols into the gourd. Now let's look at this picture again. So they carve symbols into a gourd, and then they pressed the gourd into the dye that they made with the bark. After they've pressed the gourd into the dye, then they move that gourd over to their fabric, and they stamp the symbols onto the fabric. Wow, that's a big process that they need to make the symbols onto the fabric. So they create the dye out of bark, and then they carve in the symbols into the gourd. They press the gourd into the dye, and then they use the gourd to stamp the symbols onto their fabric. How cool is that? So today, we are going to be making our own fabric. Of course, we don't have any gourds. We don't have real cloth to use, but we are going to be using some paper. So you can take out some printer paper or a colored paper of your choice. That's up to you. We're gonna do some folding and we're gonna do some drawing for our picture today. So go ahead and take that out. We don't need anything else. We just need our paper and a pencil for right now. And then later on, we can do some decorating with colors. So go ahead and take that out now. Before we actually get started creating our Adinkra cloth out of paper, I wanted to show you some examples of symbols that the Ashanti people might use on their Adinkra cloth. Take a look at these right here. Underneath each picture is a word. That is a meaning behind that picture or symbol. So if we look at this symbol up here, I'm not sure if I'm pointing exactly to where it is, but on the top row, there's kind of a symbol that looks like a heart shape. Yeah, that symbol, the meaning behind it is underneath. There's a few words to explain the meaning of this symbol. The meaning is learn from your mistakes. I will show you another picture here. If we look here, here is some more examples. These ones don't have meanings underneath them. These are just symbol shapes. What I am going to do at the very end of our video, I'm going to put both of these pictures up at the end of our video, and I will leave them up for about 15 seconds. When I have those up, you can go ahead and pause the video and you can use those symbols on the screen for your Adinkra cloth. So I'll help you kind of get it started. We'll start thinking about some patterns we can use, what pictures we could use, what symbols we could use, colors, all that kind of stuff. And then once we have thought about it and got it ready, we will move on and I will let you do your own Adinkra cloth and use the symbols that I am showing on my screen. So we'll get started first and then I'll explain more when right before I say goodbye. Okay, so I have my paper and now I'm gonna put it under my projector so you can see. We're gonna do some folding. So go ahead, take your paper and I'm gonna get my projector all ready to go. Awesome. Okay, so I have my paper. What I am going to do, first, I'm gonna fold it in half, which means I'm gonna take this corner over here and touch it to this corner over here. And I'm gonna take this corner over here and touch it to this corner over here, just like this. Here we go. Awesome, folding corners. It does not have to be perfect at all, just as close as we can get it. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna turn my camera a tiny bit so you can see me. There we go. Okay, so I folded it in half and then I'm gonna fold it in half again. Corners are touching, here we go. Okay, now I folded it 2 times. I'm gonna fold it again. Here we go. Corners are touching, here we go. Again, does not have to be perfect. If you look super close over there, my corners aren't exactly aligned. That's okay. Okay, we're gonna fold it one more time. You ready? Okay, corners are touching. Boop. Now I have a little tiny square. It fits in my palm. Fits in the palm of my hand. You can use that as a measurement tool to see, is my paper right now as long as my hand? Or does it fit, whoa, ping, or does it fit in the palm of my hand? So you can use that as a measurement. Let's see, how many folds did we do? We did 1 fold in half, 2 folds in half, 3 folds in half, 4 folds in half. So you did 4 folds to make the paper that looks like this. Ta-da! Let's count our squares, or our rectangles. These look like shapes that have 2 long sides and 2 shorter sides. A rectangle. Let's count here. We see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, last row, 13, 14, 15, 16 rectangles. So when I showed you pictures earlier, like this one right here, we can see they also used squares or rectangles to put their symbols inside. So that's kind of what we did with our paper today. We made a grid of rectangles that we can make patterns, we can put shapes in. It's whatever you would like to do to decorate your Adinkra cloth. Okay, so now that we have this grid shape, we are gonna take out a black marker or crayon. We're using a black marker or crayon because we talked about how the Ashanti people created that black dye out of bark. It was called the Adinkra Aduru. I really hope I'm saying that correctly. The Adinkra Aduru. So that is why we are using a black marker or crayon to show kind of what they would do when they are creating their Adinkra cloth. Okay, so I have my black marker, and all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna trace along those folds I just made on my page. So I'm gonna go through, I have my black marker, you might be using a black marker or crayon. I'm carefully tracing, not scribbling, carefully tracing those folded lines that we just made. We counted, there are 16 rectangles. We're just making them darker now, just like on the examples that I showed you earlier. Go carefully tracing. Okay. So now on my page, you can see my 16 rectangles a little bit clearer. And it's just like on the real examples that we just saw of a Adinkra cloth. Okay, so the next step is starting to think about patterns, shapes, symbols, what we would like to put on our Adinkra cloth. I'm gonna share with you those examples again. Let's take a look at that picture that I showed you earlier with the meanings underneath. I'm seeing lots of different geometric shapes. I'm seeing some ovals, I'm seeing some triangles, some squares, lots of different things that I could trace and draw. I want you to choose one symbol right now. Look at the pictures, choose one symbol, and then we're going to draw our symbol that we chose on our piece of paper. Awesome. Okay, the symbol that I am choosing to draw is on the second row, and it has 4 circles. That symbol is for wisdom and knowledge. That's the first symbol that I am going to draw. So what I want you to do right now is take out a pencil. We're gonna start with pencil first because we're tracing, and sometimes we make a mistake. We can erase it on our artwork if we would like, and then we can go over it with a darker color once we know that that is what we want on our page. So go ahead and take out your pencil. I'm gonna take out my gray marker so that it's easier for you to see, but you're gonna use pencil when we're first tracing our symbols. Okay, so that symbol that I chose for wisdom and knowledge, I'm drawing it in the top corner here. I have my paper so that the long way is horizontal. It's going across my desk space. If you would like, you can start with your paper going this way. Again, it's up to you how you would like your artwork to look. I'm choosing to start this way, but it's up to you. So I'm making that symbol for wisdom and knowledge. I'm gonna turn the camera a little bit. There we go. Okay, wisdom and knowledge. I'm drawing 4 circles. You're drawing whatever symbol you would like. Okay, I drew my 4 circles, and I'm noticing at the top, there's a darker shade, a circle at the top, kind of an oval shape a little bit, that is colored in. So I have that at the top. Okay, so I've done my first symbol. Now I want to think, how should I make my Adinkra cloth into a pattern? Do I want to make it so that each rectangle in this column is the same symbol? Do I want to make it so each rectangle in this row is the same symbol? Do I want to make it so that each rectangle in this diagonal has the same symbol? I could do so many different things. I could make it so every single rectangle is a different shape. That would be a pattern. Everything is different. What do I want to do? You are deciding right now what you want to do. Do you want to do a similar symbol? Do you want to do a pattern that has pairs? Maybe you have these two symbols are the same. These two symbols are the same. There are so many different patterns that we can create. I'm letting you decide. While I'm working on my art, I'm going to share this other page that I have that has symbols on it that are a little bit different, but they don't have the meanings underneath them. They're just some symbols. You can look at them at the very end. Again, I'm going to put them onto my video at the very end when I say goodbye so that you can pause the screen and decide what symbols you want to use. Ooh, I really like the symbol that it kind of looks like two diamonds or two rhombuses. Two rhombuses that are together. It's on the bottom row. If you look at the very bottom, I see two diamonds or two rhombuses. I'm gonna do, taking my pencil. I think I'm gonna do that shape next. So I'm drawing one rhombus or one diamond or even a parallelogram. Oh, they're not connecting. There we go. Ooh, we have three names that we call that in 104. Diamond, rhombus, parallelogram. So now I have my two rhombuses or my two parallelograms that are touching. Now, what do I want to do next? What should I do next? What should I do next? I have so many picture things that I could do. Oh, I kind of like that symbol that looks like a heart on the bottom. It makes me think of Valentine's Day. Maybe I'm gonna do that one next. Let's go back. Let's take a look at our other shape page. Oh yeah, I'm seeing lots of, I like this one. In the middle, there is a shape that has three circles getting smaller and smaller. That means royalty. Maybe I'll add that one to my page. Circle, circle, circle. That means royalty. I am going to stop there and I would create some kind of pattern. Maybe I would do the same shapes in a row, or maybe I would make them a pattern diagonally. There's different ways that I could do it. What I want to think about now is colors that I could use. Maybe I decide to have this one yellow, this one pink, this one yellow, this one pink. You can decide what patterns you would like to do, or maybe you don't want to have colors. Maybe you just want it to be a dark color. If that's what you want, all you have to do over your pencil is you can take your black marker or crayon and color over those pencil lines that you drew. Or you can add some color. That's what I am doing right now, is just going over my pencil markings with my black marker, just like the black dye that they use from bark. Okay, so now maybe I want to take out my crayons. Maybe you could use crayons or markers. Paints, you can use whatever you have at home. I'm thinking about using my crayons. I kind of liked that idea. Maybe I'll do, I kind of liked in this picture example that I showed earlier, that pattern, yellow, green, yellow. Maybe I want to do that too. So I'm going to color my background yellow. You would color more carefully than I am doing. I'm just showing you an example, and then I'm going to let you go off on your own to work on your picture. So then I would do yellow, then I would do more yellow. You would fill in your whole rectangle. Maybe instead of green, maybe I want to do purple. So you are filling in this shape, this rectangle, with the pattern color of your choice. There we go. just to quickly show you an example of what you could do. Okay, so I have now started my Adinkra cloth. I want you to finish. You are finishing the pattern, you're finishing the symbol pattern, you are finishing the color pattern, whatever you would like to do to make your own Adinkra cloth. Okay, I'm going to leave you at this. You are finishing your Adinkra cloth, and then once you have finished your Adinkra cloth, if you're feeling up for it and want a second art project to do, my next video is African masks. We're going to talk a little bit about African masks, what they're used for, and get to make our own. If I don't get to see you for our second video, have a great rest of your day and a great midwinter break. We'll see you in a little over a week. Bye, friends.